You are on the verge of an epiphany. Let me define an epiphany. It's a moment when you suddenly understand something that gives you the ability to accomplish your goals. That's what this video is about. In fact, you'll probably find yourself having multiple epiphanies in the next few minutes that will shift your whole perspective about Facebook advertising and funnels so you can unmistakably see exactly what you need to do to not only accomplish your goals, but surpass them. And that's because you're going to discover the truth about what it really takes to advertise profitably on Facebook. There are a lot of limiting myths around Facebook advertising, and I'm going to eliminate those for you so that you can make intelligent and educated decisions about how to reach your goals. And even better, I'm going to show you the foolproof system we use to build profitable campaigns on Facebook. We call it the fish in a barrel method because it takes the inherently risky process of Facebook advertising and makes it predictable. And this is a process our team has deployed over and over to bring in many thousands of leads, consultations, and sales for high and low priced products and services such as consulting services, training programs, physical product lines, information products, dental services, real estate, financial services, and high-level masterminds, just to name a few. Now, you won't find this information anywhere else because I'm giving you hard-earned insights from our real-life, in-the-trenches experience on the front lines of digital advertising. Over the past 4 years, we've invested tens of thousands of dollars into the best education and information available, and more importantly, our team has invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend on in-house campaigns as well as client campaigns in order to develop, test, and refine this system. Now, before I take you through the fish in a barrel system step by step, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. So I'm going to take a minute to clear some things up and eliminate some of the major myths that destroy most people's hope of success with Facebook advertising campaigns. So let's start with the silver bullet myth. First of all, shattering this myth will make me a little less popular among those marketers who make their living preying on people who believe, and frankly, that's fine with me. The silver bullet myth is the idea that Facebook ads and a funnel are going to instantly make you rich without any risk. According to the myth, it's just a matter of finding the right expert, genius, or guru who creates you some highly targeted, high-converting ads that when you turn them on, voila, money comes flooding in. The myth suggests that it will work for you even if your business is brand new, you have no experience in business or advertising, and you have a shoestring budget. And this is why so many people report being burnt by a consultant or agency in the past. The expectations are just unreasonable. I mean, seriously, think about it. If it was that easy, then everybody would be a millionaire already. The truth is, there's a barrier to entry into the world of profitable Facebook advertising, but that should never discourage someone who's serious about making Facebook ads work for them, because once you cross that barrier, the rewards are more than worth it. And I'm about to show you exactly what you need to do to cross that barrier. So if you haven't already noticed, the difference between me and the other guys is I'm not going to try to tell you it's simple or easy. Instead, I give serious people a realistic map of the ecosystem and make sure that they're prepared with the tools and knowledge they need for a successful journey. So now that we know Facebook ads and funnels definitely aren't a silver bullet, a much better analogy is that of constructing a building. Just like constructing a building requires you to understand the tools, architecture, and building process, getting profitable results with Facebook advertising requires a fundamental understanding of marketing and sales, as well as some serious skills with the Facebook advertising platform. When you think about it, one of the key components of constructing a building is the foundation. And the bigger the building is going to be, the bigger the foundation needs to be. And most people overlook the foundation of a Facebook campaign, which is data. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. And because most people ignore this foundation, one of the most common complaints I hear from the market is our campaign is doing okay at first, and 2 weeks later it fell apart. So what happened? Well, to answer that question, it's the same thing that happens when you build a house out of plywood with no foundation and no understanding of architecture. Of course it's cheaper. You can do it yourself, and you can probably prop some boards together and sit in there for a few days without noticing any major problems. But the second it starts raining, or the wind blows a little too hard, the whole thing comes tumbling down on top of you. And when you think about it, if this is what you built, you shouldn't be too surprised when it blows over, and you really shouldn't be too surprised if nobody comes to see it. So Facebook ads and funnels are not a silver bullet. They are tools that someone skilled in the trade can use to build something great with hard work and patience. Myth number 2 is the shiny object myth. And this myth says just what it sounds like. It says that the newest, shiniest feature, widget, or funnel hack is always good, and you need to use it or you'll fall behind. This leads people to frantically chase the newest trend because of shiny object syndrome, and these people never master the fundamentals, let alone anything in advertising, because they're too caught up in the hype trying the latest tricks, widgets, and hacks, hoping for a Hail Mary win. But it just doesn't work like that, and new is not inherently better when it comes to developing an advertising campaign. You need to double down on the tried and true, on what you know is going to work, and not spread your efforts across a bunch of long shots and gimmicks. When you think about it, by nature, new stuff is untested. And if you follow every trend that comes out, you'll be in a constant state of distraction testing out these untested things. And while we've seen feature after feature released on Facebook and watch everyone go crazy over them for a month, only a few of them actually stick and become part of our core marketing methodology. So don't let yourself get sucked in. Use a proven system that can systematically dial in and optimize. Now let's get into the details of the fish in a barrel system. And keep in mind, this is not just an idea we had and decided to start teaching, or something we saw someone else do and decided to knock off. And these definitely aren't tricks or hacks that are going to give you short-term wins. The fish in a barrel system is a process for reliably and systematically executing a campaign that delivers leads and sales by taking full advantage of the powerful features available on the Facebook advertising platform. It eliminates much of the risk of developing a campaign by using a systematic split testing process, and is probably the safest way to ensure a campaign is successful. This system has been developed and optimized over years of trial and error. The information you're about to see is the product of massive amounts of successes and failures carefully monitored and studied in order to profit from the lessons. The value of this information is monumental. Any one of the points you are about to see can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in years of frustration. Conversely, any of these points can fill your pipeline with high-value leads, put you in touch with your dream clients, and ultimately make you millions of dollars. Before we get into the details of the system and how it works exactly, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ben Gothard. My background is in direct response Facebook advertising and influence-oriented communication. I started Apexx Ventures along with my partner Jacob with the mission of helping people help people. In order to accomplish this mission, we have combined Jacob's mastery of face-to-face sales and sales copywriting with my expertise in Facebook advertising to deliver highly targeted leads to a high-quality funnel that actually converts them to sales, and doing it in a systematic, replicable, and reliable way. So let's get into the nuts and bolts here. There are 6 stages to the fish in a barrel system, and each step reduces the cost per lead and improves the quality of leads, zeroing in on the actual buyers by systematically optimizing each element of the campaign. Stage 1 is research and development. Now, the research portion of this step is crucial and cannot be skipped no matter how much you already know about your audience or your market. The reason is because much of the information you need here is very specific for Facebook's targeting system. In addition to the Facebook specific information, we do market research to determine the state of the market. We study the competitors and strategize the best angles to take with the offer and the copywriting. Don't underestimate the value of this research phase because it's the foundation of your campaign. Taking the time to do this research thoroughly and properly up front saves a lot of time and money in the long run. Once the research stage is completed, the campaign development portion is where we put everything we learned in our research into action. Setting up the framework of the funnel includes audience building and installation, copywriting, image sourcing, developing the marketing materials, building out landing pages, installing pixels, and setting up all the tracking. Basically everything required to have the funnel ready for traffic. Stage 2 is audience testing, and this is where the rubber really meets the road. At this point, the initial version of the funnel is all set up and ready to convert traffic. From this point on, all tests will be running traffic to a live funnel so people can start buying immediately. The audience test allows you to hone in on your ideal prospects with your Facebook targeting, and the way we've designed this process has several advantages. First of all, it allows you to send your ads to people who your competitors can't figure out how to target. This gets people who are more receptive to your offer because they aren't being bombarded all day by ads from your competitors who don't understand targeting. Why can we reach these people who other people can't target? Primarily because most people make very rudimentary use of Facebook's targeting controls. For example, if an offer is for real estate agents, most people will select the real estate agent occupation and interests and maybe throw a few other obvious things in here like Remax. The problem is that everyone advertising to the real estate agents is doing that same thing. So the people who are in that group are being overloaded with ads constantly and are probably a bit annoyed by it. Besides the problem of how crowded these targeting groups are, there's another point, which is that there's millions and millions of real estate agents who aren't in the real estate occupation or interest group for whatever reason. So how do we reach these people? That's why there's a whole nother level to targeting real estate agents or any niche. Instead of just selecting real estate agent on our targeting, we think a lot bigger and build a list of relevant interests related to real estate agents. For example, companies and brands that real estate agents are associated with, websites they frequent, podcasts they listen to in their industry, celebrities and educators that they follow, products they use, and much more. This opens you up to entirely new groups of people that your competitors can't even begin to reach. So you're already light years ahead here, but it still goes another level deeper. See, of the people who do the last step I mentioned of targeting surrounding interests, and very few people actually do that, almost all of them will put all of those interests into one big audience. This is a major problem for your targeting because you can't monitor each interest group results individually, and of the 40 to 50 interest groups, about 10 to 15 of them are going to convert like crazy. Another 20 are going to be about average, and the remainders are going to totally suck. And when they're all lumped together into one big group, you have absolutely no way of knowing which ones are the winners. This makes your conversions a lot more expensive because you're actually paying for the average performers and the ones that suck just to get to those groups that are performing really well. Now, the way you solve this problem and get that information about which audience groups are performing and which ones aren't is by putting each individual group into its own ad set. Give all of them the same budget, give all of them the same copy, use the same image, and basically isolate the audience groups as the only variable. This allows you to see exactly which groups are performing and which ones aren't. Now, executing the test this way makes it possible to double down on what's working, cut out all the underperformers, and redirect that ad spend towards the groups that do produce so that you are left with only the highest converting targeting groups. This stage makes huge cuts to your cost per lead and gets you laser targeted leads and traffic. Stage 3 is copy testing, and your copy is where 80% or more of the persuasion takes place. When you think about it, the words you use are the only way that you can directly communicate and persuade someone to take action online. So this stage is massively important. Execute this stage well, and you'll be rewarded handsomely with increased conversions, more leads, and more sales. Similar to the audience test, the copywriting on the ad is isolated as the only variable. So each copy variant gets its own ad set, and each ad has the same budget, same targeting, same image, and the same demographic settings. Now with copy, the key here is to test broadly. So we create 20 to 30 different variations of the copy for most campaigns. You're not testing small changes here such as punctuation or slightly different wording. You're testing bigger concepts such as long copy versus short copy, different angles to present your offer, pain versus pleasure phrasing, and things like that. The point is to go really broad with the copy variations and test big concepts, not small tweaks. Moving on to stage 4, this is where we do the image testing. At this point, we've identified our winning audiences and copy, and now we're isolating the images as the only variable we're testing here. So where copywriting is responsible for the persuasion, your images are there to grab the attention of your ideal prospect and get them to stop and read the ad. And notice here, a quick sidetrack, that I say your ideal prospect, not just anybody. What I mean here is the people who are most likely to buy. So we're not just monitoring for clicks on your ad, we're actually using pixels to tell us which ads get the attention of people who are most likely to actually buy. And we do this by monitoring how far people make it through the funnel from each ad variant. So for example, one ad might get 40 clicks for $10, but only 5 of them opted into your landing page and only 1 ends up buying. While another ad only gets 20 clicks for $10, but 10 of them actually opt into your landing page and 5 of them buy. So in this case, which ad would you want? Of course you want the ad that got 5 sales, not 1. And that's why it's so important to track and optimize for the back end of the funnel as well as the front end. And we optimize for ideal prospects like this at every stage of the campaign. But it's especially important on the image tests, and that's why I'm highlighting it here. So moving on, we test 3 to 10 different images in this stage depending on niche and other variables. And with your images, you want to test really broadly. Again, we're not talking about different colored text overlays. We're talking about testing totally different concepts. So you might test images with people versus images without, stock photos versus more candid looking shots, product images versus lifestyle photos, pretty nice looking images versus ugly ones. This is also where you test videos if you're using them. And if the videos outperform the images, then you can run a specialized video ad split test later. So remember, with the image test, just like the copy test, you want to test really broad. So think about concepts, not details. because changing small details will result in small changes in the results, but changing concepts will yield major improvements. Now, stage 5 is demographic testing, and a lot of people ask me about demographic testing. What's the difference between the targeting stage and demographic testing? The best way to describe it is with an example. So imagine you're selling some high-end scissors, and in the audience test, you find that the best place to send your ads is to barbershops and hair salons. And it makes sense because these places use scissors and they care about the quality. But there are a lot of people at the barbershops and hair salons, and not all of them are actually buying the scissors. Some of them are just there for a haircut, and some of them are employees who aren't in charge of actually purchasing supplies. So this is where the demographic test comes in, because there are specific people in that barbershop or hair salon who are actually buying the scissors, and the demographic test is where we zero in on the buyers in the market. So think age, gender, location, income level, and things like that. Now, following the example, we might find that the owners are the ones buying. And at the barbershops, it's men between 35 and 55 with a slightly higher than average income. And the owners at the salons are mostly women between 30 and 45 with a higher than average income. Now, in some cases, we'd already narrow the demographics down a bit from the beginning. For example, if a campaign is only for a local area, then we'd already narrow it down from the beginning. Or if the campaign is only targeting women, then we'd only target women from the beginning, of course. But in general, we don't narrow down the demographics from the beginning any more than we have to. So now, with your example targeting, by zeroing in on those owners of the barbershops and hair salons, instead of paying to send your ads to everyone in that barbershop, you're only sending your ads straight to the boss. So this stage can increase conversions dramatically because it allows you to really zero in on only those people who are most likely to buy. Now, stage 6 is scaling and retargeting. And this stage is really exciting because it's where you take the campaign that you built and optimized to perfection, and now you make it bigger and better. So let's start by talking about scaling. The key with scaling is to increase your ad spend without increasing your cost per sale. And there's a lot more to scaling than most people think. Because if you simply turn the budget up on an ad from $5 a day to $100 a day, you're going to totally kill your conversions. And if you've ever done this, you know that when you increase the budget quickly, then your cost per conversion also goes up really quickly. And this is not exactly what you had in mind. You think that if $5 per day gets you 10 leads, then if you multiply your ad spend by 20 and spend $100 per day, then your leads would also multiply by 20 and you'd be getting 200 leads. But when you just crank up the budget all at once, your cost per lead soars. So you only end up with about 20 to 30 leads for your $100 a day budget. You see, there's a science to scaling a campaign, and it's somewhat tedious. It requires specific techniques and carefully monitoring your ad. So for us, we have 7 primary strategies that we use for scaling, but I'll share 2 of them with you right now as an example. The first one is to gradually increase the budget on the ad, only increasing the budget by really small increments, about 40% at a time. So if your ad is successful, for example, at $5 per day, then you turn the ad budget up from $5 to $7, and then you watch it for about 3 days to make sure that you're getting comparable results to when the ad was only at $5 per day. The second strategy is cloning the ad. So you make a duplicate of the ad, you give it the same budget as the original, and same thing, you watch it for about 3 days. And this will work about 40 to 60% of the time. Sometimes when you duplicate the exact same ad, it'll totally bomb. So in that case, of course, you turn it off, and sometimes when you duplicate the ad, it performs the same or better than the original. So of course, in that case, you leave it on. So you can see when you combine these two strategies with the other 5, then you can scale your campaign rather quickly. Now let's talk about retargeting. Retargeting is when you send follow-up ads to people who have already visited your website or specific pages on your website. And this is done using what's called a tracking pixel. This pixel is a piece of code that you install on one or more pages of your website so that every time someone visits a page the pixel is installed on, that person is marked by Facebook and put into a list of people that you can send more ads to at a fraction of the cost. So they don't have to opt in to anything for this to work or enter their email or anything like that. All they have to do is visit your page and they're automatically entered into your retargeting pool. And one of the nice things about retargeting ads is that they're much cheaper to send than cold ads. So this allows us to send a series of retargeting ads to these people at a fraction of the cost. And one of the ways we use this is as a follow-up campaign, similar to email follow-up. So if someone clicks the ad and visits the landing page but doesn't enter their information, then you send them a series of follow-up ads promoting the content and driving them back to that landing page. Or if someone opted into the landing page but never took the next step, then you follow up with them promoting that next step right in their Facebook news feeds. So we might create several different retargeting series for one campaign, where each series consists of 3 to 10 follow-up ads sent out over a week to a month or more. And the uses for retargeting are endless. And we have several different retargeting strategies to do that, and they're designed to accomplish different purposes. Now, in addition to retargeting as showing up right on Facebook, they can also show up on sites all around the web. With this, Facebook essentially places your ad on any of thousands of sites that your prospect visits, but they only show up when your prospect is on that site. So your prospect can be on CNN.com and see your ad right there on the sidebar. And besides driving people back into your funnel, these ads can give you much more credibility and authority, because often your prospects assume that you paid CNN for the ad, when in reality, you're only paying pennies on the dollar for these ads to follow your prospects all around the internet. Wow, we've covered a lot here. We shut down the silver bullet myth along with the shiny object myth. We broke down the 6 stages of the fish in a barrel system. We covered research and development, audience testing, copy testing, image testing, demographic testing, scaling, and retargeting. The information in this video is literally priceless. I mean, you just saw the code to unlock one of the most profitable advertising platforms of this era, Facebook advertising. However, none of this is going to be of any use to you unless you can actually do something with it. So, if you saw value in what we just went over here, and you're looking for some more clarity as to how you can put this to use in your business and get some seriously awesome results with Facebook advertising, then you're in luck. Because for a limited time, I've opened up space in my calendar specifically for strategy calls with people who watch this video. On this strategy call, we're mapping out a strategy specific to you, so you can see exactly how a Facebook advertising campaign with the fish in a barrel system can help you grow your business and what steps you need to take to make it happen. When you book through this video, you won't pay a dime for this strategy call. It's absolutely free. However, due to time constraints, I have to be very selective about who I get on the phone with, so I can't offer these calls to just anybody. So before you book, please make sure that you can check off these qualifications. First of all, you've got to be open to direction for me to be able to help you. You've got to be able to listen. Next, your product or service must be proven and it must provide real value. What I mean here is that you're already selling your product or service, people like it, and now you're just looking to take things to the next level. And another thing here, if you're looking to run a lead generation campaign where leads will be closed in person or over the phone, then you must have a sales process in place and an experienced sales team. If you don't have the people and systems in place, then you definitely need to be open to direction in that area as well. And finally, you should be a positive, success-minded person who's serious about creating a profitable Facebook campaign. And that's it. So if you meet the requirements and you'd like to see what your custom-tailored Facebook advertising funnel looks like, then click the button below this video and schedule a time directly into my calendar. When you click the link, you'll be taken to a booking page. Simply select a date and time, enter your contact details, and make your booking. And by the way, this isn't just a sales pitch in disguise, because honestly, I don't even know if we're a good fit to work together at all. And right now, I'm only looking for dream clients. So the purpose of this call is to provide tons of value, make connections, and if you are one of those dream clients, to make you a lot of money. And if that's the case, then we can talk about working together. Either way, you'll be receiving an insanely valuable consultation, and at the end, you'll walk away with a master plan that you can use on your own. Hire somebody else to implement, or if we're a good fit, then we can implement it together. And if we do decide to work together, then we'll absolutely hit it out of the park. With that said, please understand that this offer won't be available very long, as usually when we have an opening for a new client, it's filled up very quickly. And if you wait to schedule a time with me, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to get into my calendar. So if you'd like to get your custom-built funnel strategy and see exactly how you can use Facebook ads in the fish-in-a-barrel system to grow your business, then don't hesitate to click the link below right now to schedule your call. I look forward to talking with you very soon.